Good morning, 6th class students. Today we are discussing about our chapter number 5, that is the separation of substances. In last classes we already discussed about the our activity 5.1, and now we are discussing about the sedimentations and decantations. So what is this? Look here. These two methods are used to separate a mixture of insoluble solid in a liquid. It means sometimes the liquids are not solubles. Liquids are not solubles, and that time the liquids are solids are not solubles, and they are insoluble solid. Insoluble solid means the solid which cannot be it means the distribute or maybe the dissolve into the liquid. So sometimes not. So the insoluble solid particles which are coarse and heavy, and when allowed to stand, like sand in water, because sand cannot completely dissolve into the water, and they are just capped, and when we are not stirring or capped for some time, then they are just at the bottom of that particular beaker. So this process is called sedimentation. The particles which settle down are known as sediments. So this process is known as sedimentation, and it means allowed to stand for a few times. So that is the sedimentation, and the particles which settle down are sediment. The clear liquid layer above is called supranatant liquid. The clear liquid which is above, okay. The process to keep this one, that is sedimentation. The left, it means at the bottom side, the insoluble solid is known as sediments, and the upper one liquid, which is the clear in nature, that is the supranatant liquid. Okay, the clear liquid layer then can be poured out. The process of separation of the clear liquid layer without disturbing the settled down solid or the sediment is called decantations. Okay, so the decantation is a process by the separation of the clear liquid layer without disturbing the settled solid or sediment. That is the decantation means it is the process in which we cannot disturb the sediments and just pouring the upper one supranatant liquid to the other one with the help of some rod. Okay, so rice and pulses. Okay, rice and pulses are washed before. One science bit is also there. Sorry. The chemical alum category is added to a muddy water. Added to a muddy water. Muddy water means a soil one, or like mud water, which you can see the muddy color of that raining water. To speed up the process of sedimentation, alum attaches itself to the dirt particles and make them heavy. So they settle down slowly. This process is called loading. This process is known as loading. Rice and pulses are washed before cooking by using these two methods, sedimentation and decantation. The fine dust and soil particles which cannot be separated by hand picking or sieving are separated in this manner. It means the fine particles, some one which cannot be separated by the hand picking. It means the some big pebbles which cannot be having. So now some the coarse particles, sometimes the particles are very fine and like dust in the grains. Then we can by the help of this sedimentation we can remove it. Separation of a mixture of two immiscible liquids. Two immiscible liquids means they cannot be mixed with each other. Okay, miscible word generally we are using for two liquids, and soluble or solution. Okay, we are using the words when one is solid and other one is a liquid. Okay. So, for example, oil and water can be carried out by the using the above two methods. The mixture is allowed to stand for some time. When it separates into two layers, the upper layer of liquid is decanted while the lower remains the vessel. Like oil and water cannot be mixed. It means they are the immiscible liquids. So for that we can do this process sedimentation, because the upper one liquid, okay, which we can remove with the help of decantation process, and other one which we can make them left to that particular container. Now the filtrations. Solid particles which floats in liquids and very fine solid particles present in liquids. Okay, solid particles which float in liquids and very fine solid particles present in liquids cannot be removed by sedimentation decantation, because sometimes they get just mixed with that particular water. So we cannot remove with this help of this decantation and sedimentation process. We cannot separate a mixture of sawdust in water or tea leaves from a brew by this two-method process. It means the tea leaves we cannot it means the separate with the help of, and sawdust also in the water. So they have to be separated by a special process known as filtration. They have to be separated by the special process that name is filtration. In this method, the mixture is allowed to pass through a filter with the fine force. You can see in the diagram, okay, that is the muddy water, glass rod, and filter paper cone, and clear water. So filter paper cone is here, okay, and when we are adding this muddy water to filter paper, fine particles of this sawdust or dust can be stopped here, and the clear liquid or water maybe just get inside to the beaker, okay. So the mixture is allowed to pass through a filter with the fine pores which allow only the liquid to pass through it. The insoluble solid particles collect on the filter, and this known as the residue. So the clear liquid is known as the filtrate. So this clear liquid is known as the filtrate, and the filtration can be defined as the now the definition of filtration: the process of separation of a insoluble solid. So what process we are understanding here? Sedimentation, decantation, okay. Sedimentation and decantation. Next one is filtration. Filtration can be defined as the process of separation of an insoluble solid and constituents of a mixture from a liquid by passing through a suitable porous materials. Okay, suitable porous material through which we can separate it out. Okay, so the size of the pores in the filter should be smaller than the solid particles to be separated. Okay, you know about that. If we have to take a strainer and that pore size is more than the tea leaves, then you know about that. Tea leaves also fall down with the tea, okay, with the liquid tea. So we have to choose a strainer or pore like that. Then we have to, it means if we have to remove some big particles, then we have to choose some small porous materials to separate it. Okay, you know about that. So the size of the pores in the filter should be smaller than the solid particles to be separated. Otherwise, very small particles of solid may pass through the pores. Commonly used filters are muslin cloth, strainer, and filter paper. In the lab, we use a filter paper to separate insoluble solid components from a liquid. So in the lab, generally we use a filter paper to separate insoluble solids. At home, we separate tea leaves from a brew with the help of a strainer. So with the tea leaves, we have to with the strainer. Okay, strainer means छलनी. Okay, तो छलनी के जो pores होंगे वो ज़्यादा बड़े होंगे और हमारे पास जो टी लीव्स है वो स्मॉल होगी तो उसके अंदर से गिर जाएगी. So we have to select a small pores, and if the particles we have to separate, that one is a bigger one. At home we separate brew, okay, leaves from the brew with the help of a strainer. Now the muddy water supplied by the taps or obtained from the rivers or ponds is filtered with the help of muslin cloth. So this muslin cloth, okay, like a cotton cloth, to separate the muddy particle. A strainer or a muslin cloth is also used to separate fruit juice from the pulp and seeds or separate paneer from the liquid. So this type of cloth also used in making of paneer, or maybe used to separate fruit juice from the pulp and seeds of. Okay. Now the activity 5.2, to separate mixture of undissolved solids from a liquid using a filter made by you. Okay. So to separate a mixture of undissolved solid. So what is this undissolved solid? An empty plastic bottle with a cap, a piece of fine cotton cloth, 2 beakers and a muddy water. Very easy process. Look, empty plastic bottle we need. This is the empty plastic bottle with a cap. Okay, with a cap. A piece of fine cotton cloth. We need here, and 2 beakers and muddy water. This is the muddy water. Cut the plastic bottle in the middle and use the upper half of the making the funnel. Okay, it means we have to cut this plastic bottle from the downside and just make inverted in this form. Okay, and remove the cap and make a small hole in it. Remove the cap and instead of that make a small hole in that. This is cover the mouth of the bottle with the cotton cloths and fix the the cap on it. Okay, it means we have to cover with the help of cloth and keep the cap on it, and then we have to make a cap on that. This is the funnel made by you. This is the funnel shape made by us. Okay. Hold the funnel above one of the empty glass beakers and pour muddy water from the other. Now the observation: the clear liquid filters down the cotton cloth while the solid components return in it. So the clear liquid is just fall down here, but the solid mud which can be it is the assemble here. Conclusion: the process of filtration is used to separate an undiscovered solid from a liquid in a mixture. Evaporations and condensation. So I hope you are understanding this thing. Now the third one process for us today is evaporation and condensations. Condensations. Okay. So look, now what is evaporations and condensations? Evaporations: when a liquid changes into a gaseous state on gentle heating such that the liquid does not boil. The process is called evaporation. You know about that in the summer days, too much water can be evaporated from the ponds, lakes and seas, okay, due to these evaporations, okay. So evaporation is the process in which the liquid, it means water, can change into the vapor form, and just due to the light weight they are just getting to the upside, okay. The process, it means without boil. This process is employed to remove soluble solids from their solutions in water. This process, it means the water evaporated cannot be taken the impurities with them, so impurities just left behind that, okay. So you have to understand this thing. And for example, sugar is separated from a sugar solution by the process of evaporation. This method is also used for separating salt from seawater. Sea contains a mixture of salts. Seawater contains a mixture of salts. It is allowed to stand in the shallow pits for a few days. Okay, water evaporates. Okay, this is the manufacture of salts. You know about that. Sometimes some carries are also made like that, and in that there is a bunch of salt you can see. Okay, at the salty lake or okay the edges of the sea or oceans. So here at it is a formation of salts, and due to that, because the salts crystals cannot be evaporated, only the water can be evaporated, and from this salty water salts can be left behind, okay. Seawater contains a mixture of salts. It is allowed to stand in the shallow pits for a few days. So this is the shallow pits. For a few days we have to allow, and after that we will see that only the salt is left behind and water is already evaporated. So water evaporates and changes into a vapor by the heat of the sun, and the salt is left behind. The salt thus obtained is further purified to get the common salt that we use every day. The process of evaporation is also responsible for drying of wet clothes. So this process of evaporation also generally we can see because in the summer days our wet clothes are generally dried too much early or too much quickly. Because of that, because the evaporation rate is higher in the summer days or in the windy areas, okay, because evaporation is getting too much higher, okay. 1 minute, I'll take one shot. Okay. So like that, see whether the evaporation, this is the evaporation, okay, evaporations, then it is the condensations, then it is the okay precipitations, precipitation in the form of hail or sleet or anything, okay, evaporations like that, condensation, precipitations, and sometimes from the plants. Transpirations also help to in the evaporations, okay. This transpiration, it means the removal of water from the leaves. So this transpiration also helps in the evaporations, okay. So look, science makes fractional distillation used to separate various petroleum products from crude oil, okay. So from the crude oil we seen some fractional distillation process in which petrol, diesel, paraffin, wax and kerosene can be distillated, it means the separated. Some solids like ammonium chloride, NH4Cl, camphor and iodine changes directly vapor on heating. Such as solids are known as a sublime, and process is known as sublimation. Sublimation is the process in which the solid is directly changes to gaseous form, and gaseous form directly changes to solid without changes to liquid. Okay, we will see here. Okay, what is this? And the solid that undergoes sublimation are known as sublimates, and the this process is known as sublimations. Okay. Now the condensations. When the vapors of a liquid or a steam come in contact with the cool surface, they condense back to their original liquid state. The process of conversion of water vapor into its liquid form is called condensation. So this type of process is known as condensations. What happens when you cover a glass of hot water with a plate? You know about that. When a glass of water, a cup of tea, okay, you've seen that, okay. Then if you place a one lid on that, then when the vapor is going out to the from this cup of tea, okay, then when you will see this lid, okay, ढक्कन को जब आप देखेंगे, then a drops of water just fall down due to their heaviness. So this water came from where? Okay, so where does it this water vapor came? So because of this water vapor, when they are touches to the cold places, they can just convert it into the water vapor into liquid, and this is can be happen in this condensation when the formation of clouds. When the formation of clouds, because this evaporated, because the hot water vapor get to the upside, and when they are touches to the cool surfaces, they can change into the drops, okay, raindrops. So when the vapors of a liquid or steam come in contact with the cool surface, they condense back to their original liquid state. This process of conversion of water vapor into liquid form is called condensations. What happens when you cover a glass of hot water with a plate? Do you notice drops of water condense on the inner surface of the plate? Where did this come from? So I already explained. When water vapor from the glass of hot water comes in contact with the cold surface of the plate, it condenses into a water droplets. This can be seen on the inner surface of the plate. This can be seen from the inner surface of the plate. So this inner surface contains some liquid. So activity 5.3, first we will see to understand this evaporation and condensation. A split lamp or a Bunsen burner or a tripod stand, a metal plate, a glass water and a matchbox we need. So light the split lamp. Okay, this is the split lamp we have to light on a Bunsen burner under the tripod stand. So this is the tripod stand in which the three angles are there. Put some water in the metal plates. So here it is the some metal plates are there, and this one like China dish. So we have to add some water into the metal plate, and on the tripod invert the glass over the water. Invert, we are just inverting this glass on that. Remove the burner after heating from for some time. What do you observe? It means now we have to remove the burner, okay, and what we will see. So on heating, the water in the plate evaporates. Okay, obviously it is that we have to generally boil the water, and after some time we have to see that it was maybe 15 or 20 minutes. The water level, okay, the level of water some reduced because some water already evaporated. So on heating, the water in the plate evaporates and changes to water vapor. It rises and gets collected in the glass. On removing the source of heat, the vapors get condensed and due to cooling and appear in the form of water droplets on the inside surface of the glass. Okay, so some drops can be collected inside the surface of the glass. So the process of evaporation takes place when heat is supplied to water and it changes to the water. It changes to the vapor state. When the source of heat is removed, the vapor state changes back to the liquid state. This is known as condensation. Okay, so the process of evaporation takes place when heat is supplied to the water, and when the source of heat is removed, then state change back to the liquid state. Okay, because this is known as condensation, because in the condensation, water vapor when touches to the some cold surface, they can change into the liquid state. Okay, it means vapor changes to the liquid because due to the touching of due to the cold surfaces. Now the distillation process. Now the fourth one is distillation process. What is this distillation? We have to see here. Okay, if for any doubts you can ask me. Okay, either through the WhatsApp or maybe the personally. Okay, but most important, our goal is to make them understand about the study and about the topics, because you have to face the problems if you will not get the sufficient amount of knowledge to hear. Okay, because sometimes you have to write in your own language in the exam time, and on that time if you are not understanding the topics and contents, then you cannot able to write some more clearly. Okay, so I hope you are understanding and try to understand more clearly. Okay, you are having this YouTube online classes and you can watch these videos anytime. So not for me only, for all subjects you have to see anytime, but more confidently, more concentrate. Okay, make them more concentrate on them. So look, our next topic is, that is distillations. Okay. Okay, the process of separations of a liquid from a soluble salt solution by the evaporations of the liquid and recondensations of its vapor and another vessels is called distillations. The pure liquid so collected from its salt solution is called the distillate or distilled liquid. So this is the distillation process. Okay, fractional distillation also we have to tell for the, and we are separating the petrol, diesel, paraffin, wax, and like that. So this is the distillation process in which the pure liquid so collected from its salt solution is called. This is the pure liquid we are getting from that. And in this, what we are doing? The process of distillation is useful for obtaining pure water, because this pure water, this is the Liebig's condenser. Okay, and this, due to this condenser, water vapor changes into the liquid, and this pure liquid water, it means the distilled water, can be, we have to collected in this beaker. Okay. So the process of distillation is useful for the obtaining pure water from water containing dissolved impurities. In Gulf countries, drinking water is obtained by the distillation of the seawater. So in the Gulf country, the distillation task and flask from the, we have to Gulf countries. Okay, they are having the most of salty water in their areas. So that's why they have to it means drink the potable water, drinking water, and they are using this distillation process to changes this salty water to pure water. Now the magnetic separations in this process, a huge electromagnet is used to separate iron fillings from a mixture of scrap. So electromagnet is a temporary magnet but is a very powerful magnet. So electromagnet is a one magnetic separation in which the, you know about that, iron or magnetic metals generally attracted towards the magnet. And if some mixture having the magnetic materials, then with the help of this electromagnet we can separate that magnetic material from that. Okay, from that impurities or maybe the mixtures. Okay, so very powerful magnet. When electric current is switched on, the electromagnet attracts the iron fillings. As soon as the current electricity is snapped, the iron fillings attached to it. So iron filling is attached to it and fall down in a heap. It means electromagnet is generally a magnet which can be run by the electricity. If electricity produced, then magnetism also introduced, and magnetism, due to magnetism the iron can be, it means the attracted towards that, and after that when they are off the electricities, then this iron material just fall down at the any places they, where they wants to it means to put them. Okay, the heavier. Okay, so now the separation of liquids by using a separating funnel. Okay, separates by separates by separating funnel. Separates by separating funnel. Is separating funnel. Okay, this is the separating funnel. Okay. Okay, for two immiscible liquids we can do this process. Okay, a separating funnel is used to separate a mixture of two immiscible liquids because they cannot mix. Okay, so look that we cannot do this process for two oils like that, one mustard oil or one coconut oil, because they can mix to each other. Okay, we cannot separate this two different type of liquid like a water, like one blue water or one red type of color water, but we can separate both are having the different density like substance or density type liquids, like one is oil and one is water, because both weight and density are different and they cannot mix to each other. That's why they are immiscible in nature. Okay, It means not mixed to each other. So the heavier liquid forms the bottom layer. So those are heavier, they can get at the bottoms, and when the lighter one form the upper layer on standing for some time, so we will see that water is a heavier than oil. That's why they are just get at the bottom side, and the oil is a lighter than the water. Then they will get the upper one place. The lower layer is run out through the tap and collected in the beaker. The upper layer remains in the separating funnel. It is a run out by opening the tap and collected in a separate beaker. So it is a very easy process. Okay, when we are keeping for some time, the oil is get upside, water is downside, and we make one nozzle here. Okay, when this water is get into the completely, and the time of come to this oil, then we will stop this rotating nozzle. Okay. So from this way we have to separate the two immiscible liquids by the separating funnels. Okay. Now the use of more than one method of separation. Sometimes some mixtures cannot be obtained with the single method. It means we cannot obtain that particular pure substance with the single method. So for that single method, we generally use some more than two or more than two process by which we can get the sometimes two or more than two separate pure substances. Okay. So to separate the components of a mixture, usually a single method is not sufficient. Like that, for example, before cooking rice, the husk and the small stone are separated by hand picking. Then the grains are washed with water for a process of, it means the small dirt can be removed by the help of sedimentation and decantations. Okay. Similar to separate a mixture of sand and salt, we require more than one method of separations. So first the salt is dissolved in enough water which dissolve all of it. It is left undisturbed for some time. The sand settles at the bottom is sedimentation. So if the sand and salt both are mixed in water, look, this is the one glass of beaker, and here it is sand plus salt also. Sand and salt also. So sand and salt also. So the sand at the bottom is sedimentation. This is then separated by decantations. The mixture can also be filtered to separate sand instead of carrying out the above methods of sedimentation and decantation. Next, the solution and filtrate is evaporated to dryness. Okay, so first of all, because salt is completely mixed into the water. Okay, this is the water. So for what we will do first, because sand is undissolved, so they are just at the downside. For that we have to do the process of sedimentation and decantation. So due to that decantation, the salty water, because salt already mixed with that, so salty water is just decanted into the another one beaker, and sand we will keep that on the place. And one more idea for that, because these are the things, that's why then we can use a one filtrate paper. Okay, we can use one filtrate paper. So filtrate, on the filtrate sand will come and the salty water will come, and for the salty water we will do a evaporation also. Okay, and if we need both salt and water both, because in the evaporation water we cannot get because water already evaporated, but if we want to get the water even also, then we have to do the fractional distillation process, in which the salt is left there, and the cleared liquid, it means in the form of distilled water, can be get enough to store in the another one funnel or beaker. Okay, so this is the process. So the mixture can also be filtered to separate sand instead of carrying out the above methods of sedimentation and decantation. Next, the solution filtrate is evaporated to dryness when salt is obtained as the residue. Water escape as vapor. If enough water is not added and some salt remains undissolved, then the amount of salt obtained after carrying out the above methods of separation. Then sometimes the salts we also can be obtained with the separation. So will be a less than amount of salt, but some less amount of salt will be we will get taken in the beginning. This is because some salt will still remain mixed with the sand, because some salt is already mixed with sand, and this will, it means if we are carrying the particular weight like that, like 50 gram we already taken salt, but in the next time we will not get completely this 50 gram this salt, because some salt already get it means stick to the sand particles. Okay, which mixes with the sand. Okay, so can water dissolve any amount of a substance? Can water dissolve any amount of a substance? So you have learned in the previous chapter that water dissolves most of the substance found in nature. So it is known as the universal solvent. So most of the solids and substances are can be dissolved into the water. That's why water is known as a universal solvent. If more and more of a substance is added to a fixed amount quantity of water, what happens? Do you observe that after some time no more of the substance dissolve? If yes, it means that no more of the substance can be dissolved in the amount of water we have taken. This solution is known as saturated solution. So look this example. If one glass of beaker, okay, we are having here 100 ml of water and we added 50 gram of sugar. 50 gram of sugar. Once we are just stirring with the help of spoon, then this 15 gram of sugar completely dissolved into the 100 ml of water. Then we added 10 gram more sugar. Then again stirring, then again dissolve. Now continuously, if we are adding every and each time, then 10 gram of sugar. Then if once a time will come, then there is a no sugar will be dissolved. Because of that, because already the sugar particles already got the place in between the water, and now the water are not having the too much capacity to dissolve to more solutes. Okay, so because the water is a solvent and sugar is a solute, so that the condition when no more solutes can be dissolved into the solvent, that is known as the saturated solution. And but this saturated solution we have to increase with the help of some hot solution. If it means we are continuously giving some heat to this solution, then some solute or some solution category also we have to increase, or we can see the increased level. Okay, so do you observe that some saturated solution? If some more water is added to the solution state, we see that undissolved substance dissolve completely. It means some small sugar particles can be left over at the bottom side, because they cannot. It means the water cannot have a more capacity to dissolve some more solutes. Okay. If we heat the saturated solution for some time, it will be able to dissolve. You know about that with the help of temperature. It means a temperature is the one process by which we can increase the solubility. Okay. When we dissolve sugar or salt in water to make a saturated solution, we see that amount of sugar dissolved differs from the amount of salt dissolved in the same volume of water. Therefore, we can conclude that different amount of various substance dissolved in same volume of water. It means the same volume of water, if we are adding 50 grams sugar, okay, and maybe sometime in this 100 ml water plus 50 gram of salt. Okay, so this activity and this activity showing a different nature, because water are having a different solubility for the different substances. It means for the salt they are having the different solubility in nature, and for the sugar they are having the different solubility in nature. So I hope you are understanding this chapter, today's chapter. I know about this is maybe somewhat more long class, but really I want to not do that, but it should be good for us, because if we are understanding these chapters like that way, then we will finish some more chapters. Okay, so question answer we will do in our next classes, or maybe in next classes we will do the our chapter number 5, oh sorry 6. Okay, so thank you.